for cotton, my approach to watering cotton is to put at least an inch per application on up until it starts flowering. And the reason I do that is because we don't want that plant to stress from the square initiation stage until it gets the first flower on the plant. That's when it's setting its yield potential. Once we start flowering, a little fruit, if it survives 5 days, it's going to stay on and make a harvestable bulb. And so I shift the irrigation to a 2.5 day frequency. If I've got 4 gallons per minute, I can put an inch on every 5 days. When I get to first flower, I switch it to a 2.5 day frequency because I don't want a little bulb to go and stress and abort. Cotton aborts a hell of a lot of its young bulbs. It doesn't abort squares due to stress, but once that little bulb gets set, it will abort. If it's on 5 days old and it's the size of your little pinky, it'll probably stay on and make a bulb. But the longer, like when we were row watering, back over. This is Eddie Teeter's drip corn. This is starting June the 1st, going through the 14th. This line right here represents field capacity. This line represents 30% of the field capacity being depleted. Eddie's had some times in here where it's dropped down, but even here, that's only 30%. That's only 30%. With corn, you can extract 60%. So he had plenty of water. It wasn't suffering. Here's when we got those rains in July, and it went above. So this is the summary, but Eddie's been doing an outstanding job with water on both the drip field and the pivot. The pivot is actually a little better keeping it in the wet zone than the drip. You're putting about the same volume of water on it each time, aren't you, Eddie? So the drip field, the pivot corn is doing a little better job of keeping it in that very favorable zone. Now, I've already mentioned some of these things, but critical development stages. Cotton from first square through third week of flowering. From first square to first flower, you have established your yield potential. If you've got a healthy cotton plant and it starts squaring at the 6th or 7th node, by the time you get the first flower, you're going to have 10 to 11 main stem nodes above that first square. And you'll have 18, 17, 18, 19 main stem nodes on the plant. That is your yield potential. I put through the third week to save little bolls from aborting. 70% of your yield is going to come from first position sites, 23 to 25% from second position sites, and just a few percentage from third position sites. The vast majority of your yield in cotton comes from nodes 8 through 12. Those 5 nodes produce 70% of your harvestable yield. And if you let any of those have a little bit of stress, you're going to chunk off food. Sorghum from panicle initiation through soft dough. Panicle initiation in a sorghum plant is about the 8 to 9 collard leaf stage, just like corn, 8 to 9 collard leaf stage. When the plant is under stress at that point in time, the number of inflorescent or the number of florets, especially at the bottom of the head, are affected. Corn is early ear development through tasseling. In corn, the number of rows around an ear are genetically controlled, a function of maturity, and the number of kernels per row is a function of water. If you've got a hybrid that'll make 18 rows and you've got it well managed, you'll have 50 kernels. That's 900 kernels per ear. It takes 1,500 kernels to make a pound of corn. If you've got 30,000 plants per acre, do the math real quick, Ricky. No, don't worry about it. But that's ear development and tasseling. Corn has another problem. Some of the new hybrids that are out that are considered drought tolerant. But one of the main problems with corn is like we had for June this year with those high temperatures. You desynchronize tasseling and pollen shed with silking. The tassel, it gets ahead of the silking, and the pollen is being shed when not all the silks are out. So you end up with blank spots or blank portions of the ear. In the case of cotton, again, I mentioned this from square initiation to first flower, 73% of your yield there. One of the things that was this is the water supply from planting to square initiation to first flower to peak bloom, and from peak bloom to maturity. Now, there's some interesting things here I want to point out to you. Square initiation to first flower has its greatest influence on lint yield, on boll number, bolls per plant, and boll size. A good, healthy cotton plant will make 30 to 32 seeds if it's well watered. Each seed has between 16 and 18,000 fibers. And that seed number in a boll is right here. Boll, lint per boll. The more seed you have, the more lint per boll you have. So you keep it right here. This is the one I want to point out because we're entering this period of time now from peak bloom to maturity. All negative numbers. The more water you put on from 10 days, 2 weeks from now into September, you're doing more harm than good. Now, if we get one of those tropical depressions that we could get and it comes in and we get 4 or 5 inches of rain in September, there's nothing you can do about it. You know that plant's going to continue to set fruit and it's going to be jumping. Okay? This is a sorghum plant. When that reproductive part of that plant, inside the plant, is 7 days old, it'll be about a ½ inch long. 2 or 8 days later, you can see the number of panicle branches. You can begin to see the florets forming. The plant develops panicle branches up, and then it develops the florets from the top down. This is the first thing to develop panicle branches, but the last thing to develop florets. If you have water stress, these bottom panicle branches don't have seed compared to a plant that has not been stressed. You're getting 2,000 seed per head here, and you might be getting 1,000 seed here. Just a short period of time there, you will reduce your yield, and there's nothing you can do about it. Corn, if you've got good, healthy corn, the number of kernels are quite good. The rows are genetically determined. If you've got moderate water stress, you get these silks at the end of the plant to not pollinate, or you have abortion of kernels. This one was severe stress. So you've got well-watered, moderate stress, severe stress, and you know for a fact that's cutting yield. Biological water use efficiency. Cotton takes about 4 inches of water to make the plant big enough to support yield. For every inch above 4 inches, we get 65 to 70 pounds of lint. If that's for total water, that's over a 10-year history. If you look at irrigation water use efficiency and drip systems and LIPA systems, we are approaching 100 pounds of lint per inch of irrigation water. If you're selling cotton for 80 cents and you're making, that's an $80 return for less than a $5 investment for an inch of water. That's a pretty good return on investment. Corn takes 10 inches to get the plant big enough to support yield, then it makes 10 bushels for each inch above that. If you're using $4 corn, which when I put this together, it's $4 corn. Last year it was 7.5 or something. It looks like it may be back to $4 corn this year. You're getting $40 return on investment. Peanuts are the best, but we don't grow peanuts up here. $50 return. You get 250 pounds of peanuts for every inch of water if you can keep them from burning up on the hot, dry soil. That's biological. This is a field that made 1,800 something pounds last year. And our goal is maximizing water use efficiency, and that's what we're all here for. We know we're limited on what we have. We're getting more restricted every day, and we've got to make every drop of water make as much as it can make, and that's the only way we're going to stay in business. Appreciate your time. If you Do I have a minute or two, David? If anybody's got any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer. Did I bore you that much? All right, thank you.